Shock Monkey Radio is entertainment for adults, by adults, and the views and opinions expressed here do not reflect upon the sponsors or FXBG Public Radio. For additional information, please refer to the United States Bill of Rights. Stand warned.
Tune to madness, dial the rage. World's a jungle, stage by stage. Shock Monkey Radio. Feel the static, let it go. Monkey Radio. Twist the dial and lose control.
A pretty girl I knew from high school called me up the other day. She's like, I have a YouTube question. You mind if I ask? And I was like, yeah, sure. So she calls me up. We ended up talking for 3 hours. But she was like, yeah, asked me this YouTube question. I answered it. It's like, yeah, I mean, every week I get a few people asking me to send them pics of my feet. I mean, welcome to YouTube. I mean, this is what it's like here. So I answered her question, and then we started catching up on the past and stuff like that. And, well, she started telling me these, horrible stories of her life, and just breaking my heart. So it was complicated, something about a fatwa. I'm not really sure what it means. It was technical. It was hard to follow. And so, she's just telling me these heartbreaking stories. And the whole time she's still like, praise Jesus. And like, I don't fear anything because I know Jesus has, got my back. And, what doesn't kill me make me stronger. And she had this amazing positivity and piety and passion for both. And it felt like something I need in my life. And so, maybe I got a little excited. I don't know. So am I off the market now? I don't know. I mean, I was scrolling through like Facebook dating the other day. I was thinking, should I be doing this? Is it right for me to be doing this? Is she my girlfriend now? I don't remember how it works, but I remember like long phone calls were a part of it. But maybe maybe I got too excited. I saw it as a sign from God or something like that. But I mean, it was, maybe it's okay. I probably already screwed it up anyway. I drunk texted her, asked her to marry me. But believe it or not, there's a method to that particular madness. Anyway, I'm kidding. I made all that up except for the fatwa part. Welcome to Shock Monkey Radio. I am your host, The Madman. I have a Patreon. Please go to patreon.com/shockmonkeyradio. Become a patron today. I'd very much appreciate it. Or you can send me money through Cash App. Use the hashtag shockmonkeyradio, all one word. And you can follow me on social media up there. You think about background today. I was thinking about like Jesus. Like Jesus shows up. It's like, hey, Madman, long time since we talked. What do we got going on here today? Making pictures of AI horses eating popcorn. And I'm like, and he's like, I'm like, yeah, Jesus, I'm making AI pictures of horses eating popcorn. Cool, Jesus says, that's cool. May I ask why? And then Jesus and I have to have the talk about the horse talk. At some point in everybody's life, you got to sit them down and tell them, I got to tell you about the horses. And he's like, but why popcorn? And it's like, Jesus, we got to have this conversation. Anyway, so it's like Jesus comes back and this is what you're doing. It's like, what have you been doing since I've been gone? My Father created those things. So, okay, Jesus. Anyway, let's go back to, the fatwa lady. Yeah, she watches the show, and I find it interesting that she felt comfortable calling me up and discussing these things with me. I mean, there might be something about my face, my voice, my show. I don't know. It makes people feel comfortable with dumping on me, and I don't mind you. It's just being a good friend. Being a good friend. I mean, I've done that before. EK's had trouble times, and they come and talk, chew my ear off, as I'd say. And I think being a good friend is the most important thing. If Jesus comes back into my life and like she brings more, piety into my life, that's a benefit for me. And at the end of the day, I can have all the fantasies I want. But I mean, if I do one thing on this earth, I hope I make meaningful connections with people. And even if I end up just being a good friend who you can bend my ear from time to time, I'll listen. I'll listen to politely, politely and interesting, actively. That's what somebody said. It's like you actively listen. You ask questions and stuff like that. And so I think that's good. A good friend, is always better than the best therapist. And so if nothing else comes from my show, I think I've said this before. If nothing else comes from my show, if somebody out there watches my show and say, hey, I'm not going to hurt myself because of what you said. I'm not going to hurt anyone else because of what you said. I'm going to try to be a better person because of what you said, or, even finding a dormant friendship, had been, been sitting untended for over 30 years. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It makes everything meaningful. I tell myself I'm in it for the money, but I don't know. I'd rather change your life, my life, for the better, Anyway, I got excited. Drunk texts. Marry me. Stupid. The bigger problem is that I fall in love too easily. See, I could go through the list. Like there's a blonde at Lidl. There's the brunette and redhead at Wawa. Like 2 or 3 of the waitresses at El Pino. There's a redhead who works window at Sonic on the weekends. There's a cute brunette at Five Guys. There's a skinny brunette working the checkout at Giant. There's another skinny brunette at Subway, but I haven't seen her in a while. I think she might have quit. There's a super hot Middle Eastern. Let's go towards the mall. There's a super hot Middle Eastern lady working at the tobacco store near the mall. There's 2 blondes and a redhead who work at Hookies. Let's go over to Central Park. There's a cute black girl at Firehouse Subs. There's another cute black girl at Walmart. There's also a cute ginger at Walmart. Five Guys are covered. The hot Asian at Chuck E. Cheese. I mean, shall I go on? There's beautiful women all over the world, and they all deserve the best lover that they can get, which is me. Whom is I? Which is me. Whom is I? I'm the best lover any of you could possibly get. Tooting my own horn. I'm lying. Oh, speaking of the horse, I've already named him. Can you guess his name? Maybe by the end of the show I'll tell you his name, but guess his name. Because Jesus asked me, did you name the horse? And I'm like, yeah. All right. So, like I said, I was looking through Facebook dating the other day. And there's lots of profiles of ladies out there saying, hey, can we go on an actual date, please? I would like to go on a date instead of just, Netflix and chill and stuff like that. Can we, I don't know, dress up, go someplace nice, or even just do something fun and interesting that isn't sitting around Netflix and chilling, And I think dating needs to make a comeback in that way, I got good advice from somebody I watch frequently. He said, throw 3 bricks a day. And bricks are like, yeah, your hair looks really nice today, Sandra, like when you're in line at Firehouse Subs or whatever. And, that's just, just trying, because everyone's really closed off these days. Everyone's got their face in their damn phone. It's hard to for single people to meet other single people. It's almost like I wish there was a single person's ring. Like you wear, it's like, and they put it out on the internet. New thing, single people ring. And so you wear this ring, like, I don't know, your right middle finger or something like that. To prove that you're single and that, it's like, because you don't want to go up like flirting somebody who has like a wedding ring, unless you didn't notice it. And then you're like, whoops. And this is my husband. I'm like, ooh, sorry. Anyway, yeah, that's when you try to get 3 bricks a day, you're going to end up in a situation like that. So be careful. But what I like a good flirty opening line, like you meet a girl or you talk to a girl for a little while, just pull out the old, what I call it the, I haven't actually put this into practice yet, but I think I could work it. I call it the Arrested Development Marry Me Gambit. All right. And so it's like when you first meet a girl, your first conversation with a girl, you're like, hey, marry me. You want to get married? Something like that. And usually you'll get a no. All right. But even if you get a no, like a week later, 2 weeks later, she'd be like, that guy, that's weird that he would go all in on like that. That's weird. And maybe like a couple weeks later, I may not be interested in marriage right away, but a date? Okay. And that's kind of the point. It's like, obviously, we're not going to go to the justice of the peace right now. So if you get anything other than a no, flat out, you got a chance to get that first date. You got a chance. All right. Someone like, you may have like someone the opposite end of the spectrum, like a girl who's really funny and outgoing. She might say, yes, oh my God, and start screaming. She goes like, call mom. Oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. What's happening, honey? Mom, I'm getting married. It's like overhamming it. It's like she knew what you were up to. It's like, That'd be awesome. Then you're like, I really want to marry you on the spot. You seem awesome. But what you're more likely to get is like, what, married like right away? And he's like, no, honey. No, babe. No, sweetheart. There's a process. Okay, there's a process. And here's the process. We go on a couple of dates, 1, 2, or 3 dates. And 2 or 3 dates is when we get into the holding hands territory and stuff like that. And then go on a few more dates. 5 to 7 dates is the first kiss territory, you know. And, you know, could continue for a while. I mean, that was over a year maybe we could plan a wedding, or, you know, come to a point where we could start planning a wedding in like another year. I mean, there's a whole process to it. You don't just go down to Justice. You don't just fly to Vegas and get married. That's ridiculous. There's a process, babe. And I have a rule. I have a hard and fast rule. No sex until marriage, or at least after the second argument, the second fight. Then you can have sex. That's my rule. And she may be like, okay, all right, we can go on a date. We'll see where this goes. Let's try one date first. And then when you show up to that first date, you got to come in hot. Say, I have a bone to pick with you. We got a problem, like right off the bat, because you're starting this first fight. The Marry Me Gambit. Good luck, fellas. You can have that all on your own. You can use it if you like. It's not like I'm Andrew Tate here, but I can't believe people listen to him. He's one of those people I can't understand why he gets so many more views than me. Maybe I need some Russian prostitutes dancing behind me instead of Jesus and a horse eating popcorn. All right, let's do the coin of the week. I might call this the romantic show. This is me being romantic. The coin of the week. It's 0% lucky. I'm starting to think that it's not the coin's fault. So, anyway. Coin of the week is 1 livre. We've talked about the Lebanese livre previously. It's the 1 livre coin, issued between 1975 and 1981. It's obviously from Lebanon, the Republique Lebanese. It's written somewhere. Maybe in Arabic at the top. Yeah, Arabic at the top. It's made out of nickel, approximately 8 grams, or some references note 7.2 grams for certain varieties. That's interesting. You have a scale? Because the cop asks, why do you have a scale in your car? And it's like, well, I got this 1 livre coin, and I wasn't certain if it's 8 grams or 7.2 grams, which could differentiate it from, like, its value. So that's why I have a scale on the car, because I like coins. And he's like, whatever, nerd, get out of here. So it's about 27.3 millimeters. The edge is reeded, a milled, reeded design. Typically struck at facilities like the Royal Mint or others under contract for a Banque du Liban. Forgive me. All right. The cedar trees on the front side, head side, as I would call it, features the cedar of Lebanon. You ever seen a cedar? Those things are huge. Huge. Lebanon's national symbol is in the center. Surrounding the text is Banque du Liban. Of course, French is, the French had control of Lebanon and Syria for a while. And Arabic script and the year, both Western and Arabic numerals. Other side with the wreath shows the denomination of 1 livre, 1 pound or /livre in the center, encircled by a laurel wreath. Classic design for these circulation coins. And then it's telling me my photo sucks. And the current value is $1 to $5 USD, depending upon the exact year and where. Uncirculated and proof examples could be worth more to collectors. Common dates include 75, 78, 81, etc. The exact years on yours is partially visible, but see, it's insulting my picture taking abilities. AI has, I don't know. I'm not trusting AI lately, because now they're starting to insult me. It's like, you suck at taking pictures. It's like, you couldn't get a better picture than that? Like, screw you, AI. So that's the coin of the week. Speaking of the horse's name, that's a completely AI-generated horse. I did not put any notes, prompts in about what the horse marking should look like. The AI generated that horse. All right. Oh, we're going real fast. Thought it might take forever on the other stuff. All right, let's do a movie review. The Slammin' Salmon. The Slammin' Salmon. 2009 movie. This is a Broken Lizard at their best. Even though I think Chandrazar or whatever his name is, Zongo, in this movie. I think he was burned out at this point because after writing, being a part of all that, like, and the acting, by the time you're acting the part, you're just like, I'll do the easy one. I'm burnt out. How could what I tell people is like, have you seen Waiting? And they're like, yeah, I've seen Waiting. It's like, this is way better. And obviously Broken Lizard, they have this reputation doing these like off the wall comedies and stuff like that. And all you really need to do for the way that they write, and I think they write as a team, the only thing you need to do is like give them a setting and a premise. All right. And the setting and the premise is it's a high class restaurant run by an unhinged boxer played by Michael Clark Duncan. And and every single line is just brilliant. And even like the late Mr. Duncan's lines were fantastic because he mispronounces everything, misuses words, and anybody who corrects him he yells at them expletives. And it's hard, especially when you're a person like me and somebody uses a word in the wrong context or something like that. I feel a need to jump in, and boy, I couldn't work at a place like that. And so, obviously, since it's a high-class place, there's lots of good tips to be had. Delicious desserts get sent back, and people scarf them down. And so, and it's got everything that anyone's ever worked in a restaurant has seen before. It's like, I've got a couple of pretty ladies, big dreams, and a couple of, guys who are D-bags. You got the unhinged cook. You got the manager, the sycophantic manager, who lucked his way into the job. And so it's got a lot of those elements. It's like anyone who's worked at any kind of restaurant, not just a high-class place. The difference between this movie and like Waiting is far more accessible because far more people have worked at a place like Chili's or something like that, instead of like high-class places where there's far more far more demanding standards. And so, but at the core of it anyway, no matter how many rules you put about in the uniforms and how they have to have their nails right and their hair right and so forth, it's still just a bunch of waiters and servers and unhinged chefs, in the back. And there's some things I really liked. Like there was the bus boy is like, hey, we have this rule. Every time the bus boy drops something, he has to do a shot of blue curacao. And that brings back some fond memories for me. Walking around with blue teeth and lips. Everyone's like, what's wrong with you? All right. And every single character has an arc. Every single character has an arc. And if you're looking at like one character, it's like, this guy's a D-bag. Man, I hope he gets a little bit of comeuppance. Eventually he get comeuppance, the pretty girl, the blonde girl, she gets burnt in the face with soup, and so her tips just disappear. And that's part of her arc. Then you got Smart Girl. And it's funny because nobody ever refers to her as Smart Girl until the blonde comes up to wait on Michael Clark Duncan, his character. What's his name? Cleon Salmon. He's the boxer. He freaks out at her face. It's like, go get me the smart girl. And when he says that, everyone knows exactly who he's talking about. And I think that's funny and realistic when it comes to like working at a restaurant. Give me the smart girl. And so, and I think that's what's great about their writing is like every single character has an arc. And considering how many characters that isn't easy. The only one I don't like that has a character arc is Nuts over here at the edge of the thing. That's Jake Chandrakazar, forgive me. And even though I think his zany way of writing is like a big reason for Broken Lizard's success, I think this character is just a little too simplistic when it comes to crazy people. It's a little too, I don't know, potpourri. It's like a little bit of this, a little bit of OCD, a little bit of absolute, insanity. It's not realistic to crazy people. As a madman, I say that's a tad bit offensive. So the Broken Lizard comedy, the Slammin' Salmon 2009 film, is 12 of 13 stars. Also, of all the types of butts in the world to put onto film, Indian butts are like the least desirable to put on screen. I think this should be obvious. I hope this is not a racist thing, but Indian butts are the worst. Anyway, let's get into the news worth knowing. I read this article, and I was like, holy shit, justice. Where you been? Come bring it in here, brother. Bring it in here, brother. All right, so Karmelo Anthony found guilty of murder in Texas track meet stabbing. Anthony admitted stabbing Memorial High School student Austin Metcalf, but claimed self-defense. Collin County jury has sentenced Karmelo Anthony to 35 years in prison after he was found guilty of the fatal stabbing of a 17-year-old Memorial High School student, Austin Metcalf, during a high school track meet in Frisco, Texas. Anthony faced up to life in prison after being convicted of murder, but he will be eligible parole after serving half that time. He broke down in tears and was shaking as the verdict was read Tuesday afternoon and was immediately taken into custody. Following Anthony's sentencing, the court heard from Metcalf's loved ones who had prepared victims' impact statements. Metcalf's father, Jeff, screamed at Anthony. Court officers approached him but allowed him to finish. "We were robbed," he yelled at Anthony, telling him not to look down. The public response sickens me, especially when a gag order doesn't allow me to defend my son, Metcalf said. "This was never about race or politics, but what you did was to choose to make it about both. We all bleed the same color. You are free to make choices all your life, but you're not free to face consequences. They weren't bullies, and they weren't racists. You failed your parents, you failed yourself, and you failed society. You don't belong. I forgive you, but I do not forgive what you did. You can't even look me in the eye, but you can stab my son in the fucking heart," he said, before staring at Anthony as he walked back to his seat. Hunter Metcalf, Austin's twin brother, was in the courtroom for the first time and read a victim impact statement. Quote, "I just want some respect if you could look me in the eye," he said to Anthony, who looked up at him. "I want you to realize how much pain you caused me and my family. You let the devil take over you at that moment. Now I want everything taken from you," he said, according to Fox 4. "He took everything from me. I wake up every morning and his door is still shut." Whew. A montage of pictures of Austin and Hunter growing up played on the screen. Austin's mother, Megan, said all she had left of Austin is videos. She described how she packed her son a snack before the track meet and sent him off, not realizing it was the last time she ever saw him, according to Fox 4. "You may have been sentenced to 35 years behind bars. You should feel lucky. I've been sentenced to a lifetime without my son," she told him. Anthony's parents were not in the room for the sentencing or victim statements. Before he was sentenced, his mother pleaded for mercy. "Please have mercy on my son," Kayla Hayes said, as mascara stains could be seen streaking down her tear-soaked cheeks. "He's my oldest, my firstborn, my baby. I love him very much," she said. And when Anthony's defense team asked her if her son regretted his actions, Hayes replied, "Yes, he's very sorry for what he did." Jurors were then tasked with determining Anthony's sentence, which they decided Metcalf's stabbing was not in sudden passion, quote-unquote, which would have capped his potential lifetime prison time to 20 years behind bars. He ultimately faced the possibility of spending the rest of his life in prison. The verdict sends a clear message. Violence like this won't be tolerated in our Collin County community. We remain committed to protecting our school and standing with victims and families, Collin County District Attorney Greg Willis said at a news conference Tuesday evening, according to Fox 4. The verdict followed days of emotional testimony from student athletes, police officers, forensic experts, and coaches who described the confrontation that ended with Metcalf's death at Kukendall Stadium on April 2nd, 2025. The verdict was reached just 3 hours after jurors were sent to deliberate following closing arguments on Tuesday. Anthony, who was 17 at the time, admitted that he stabbed Metcalf but claimed he acted in self-defense. As the verdict was being read, more than 100 protesters, split between supporters of Metcalf and Anthony, descended on the courthouse, and at least one protester was taken into custody after a fight broke out in response to the guilty verdict. There was heavy police presence outside the courthouse, and the court officials said a few arrests were made, but no other details were immediately available. At the center of the case was a confrontation that unfolded. Okay, hopefully you know the case. And it's good that only if you start arrest like one or two agitators at a place that could be a potential riot, that's good. That's law enforcement, And I think it's good what the father said to Karmelo Anthony, even if it might have been a little aggressive. It's like, look at me like a man. You stabbed my son in the heart, but you can't look at me like a man. And that's kind of the point, how, I don't know, trivial it is to some people. And like I said, I'm glad justice is back in town. I hope it keeps going. And the idea that it's not about race is kind of silly, because all those protesters out front they're like, I heard them chanting something like, only good cracker's a dead cracker. I mean, we're all equal under the law, and when we start changing the law to factor in like skin color, that's where justice removes the blindfold. We're equal under the law, and what you did was murder a guy, and you're sitting there, well, it's also bad for us black people and stuff like that. But that's the point. It's like you came to this place, you had a knife, and you just wanted to go sit somewhere so you can have your Rosa Parks moment and feel like you're justified in stabbing some white kid. All right? And that whole attitude, America's sick of it. And I hope justice keeps going, and America's sick of this whole racial thing. Anyway, let's go on to this next story about, let's jump across the pond to Belfast. It's kind of popping off over there in Ireland. Belfast burns after Sudanese migrant arrested in brutal knife attack. Hadi Alodid, 30, was charged with attempted murder and possessing a knife after a Monday night attack. Sudanese asylum seeker accused of blinding a Belfast man in one eye during a stabbing attack appeared in court on Wednesday as anti-immigrant unrest spread across Northern Ireland. Hadi Alodid, 30, was ordered to be held in jail after appearing by video in Belfast Magistrates Court, where prosecutors accused him of blinding Stephen Ogilvie in his left eye during Monday's attack. Alodid was charged with attempted murder, threatening to kill a radiographer and possessing a knife. He declined legal representation through an Arabic interpreter and did not enter a plea. The attack, which occurred shortly after 10:30 p.m. on Monday in North Belfast, was captured 10 p.m. Captured in graphic video footage that quickly spread online, sparked outrage and fueled demonstrations that turned violent overnight. Police said Ogilvie, a man in his 40s, suffered serious injuries to his face, neck, back, and eyes. The officers recovered what they believe was a kitchen knife from the scene. Videos circulating online appeared to show members of the public confronting the attacker, including one person wielding a hurling stick. PSNI Assistant Chief Constable Ryan Henderson praised the bystanders as heroic, saying the intervention helped save the victim's life. Police said Olidid entered Northern Ireland from the Republic of Ireland in 2023, applied for asylum, and was granted a 5-year permit to remain. Authorities initially identified him as Somali before later correcting his nationality as Sudanese. Very intense vetting process, huh? PSNI Assistant Chief Constable Ryan Henderson said investigators had no information to suggest that this was a terrorist-related incident, and we are not seeking additional suspects. Masked men set fire to several homes they believed housed migrants following the incident. They also burned trash bins, torched Belfast bus, and threw objects at police officers. Firefighters rescued multiple people from burning homes. Police said they declared a critical incident and increased their presence across Northern Ireland amid concerns of further unrest. And Selma Shima, a Belfast recent resident, originally from the Democratic Republic of Congo, said he witnessed the aftermath of the unrest near his home. I lived on my street for almost 10 years. I have a good relationship with my neighbors, but last night was a horrific one, he told Reuters. We don't know what to do. I'm scared seeing this. I'm wondering if I'm next. First Minister Michelle O'Neill and Sinn Féin described the unrest as thuggery. Groups of masked men burning families out of homes is nothing less than discussing cowardice. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer called the stabbing attack sickening and condemned violence targeting people because of their background. Sure. Quote, the scenes in Belfast last night were shocking and completely unacceptable, Starmer wrote on X. There is no justification for the violence and disorder, and we saw it threatening our communities, nor for those who encouraged it online or elsewhere. It is clear that people were targeted last night because of their background, and I will not tolerate it. Okay, so I'll keep reading. The unrest was amplified online by anti-immigration activists, including Stephen Yaxley Lennon, better known as Tommy Robinson. Some politicians said the stabbing should prompt a review from the open border between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland, a highly sensitive issue because free movement across the border, central pillar of the peace and process that largely ended decades of violence known as the Troubles in Ireland. Hopefully you know about that. The conflict involving Irish Republican, blah, 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 you know. So, yeah, it's popping off over there. And listen, I'm not saying that like the native Irish have no right to be upset and in the streets. I don't think burning houses or buses just because you think immigrants and migrants are in there. I don't think that's the answer. I read this story and I thought about that scene in a Training Day where he lets that guy go that were trying to do that awful thing to that young girl, and he lets them go, and he says, Ethan Hawke's like, yeah, we need to get them off the street. He's like, why didn't we arrest them? You let them go. And he's like, why? Why should we bother? Denzel says, why should we bother? They lost their money. They lost their rock. Guys from Hillside, they say, probably going to smoke them. What more do you want? And Ethan Hawke's like, well, that's street justice. Denzel Washington's like, what's wrong with street justice? And there's a lot wrong with street justice. That's vigilantism. That's wrong. We need accountability. Accountability for the officers, accountability for the criminals. We need to make notes. We need to keep statistics and stuff like that. There's a difference between justice and street justice. You add a qualifier to anything like social justice. No, you don't need social justice. You need justice. And unfortunately, all societies are not compatible. All cultures are not equal. All people should be equal under the law, but you need to understand that not all cultures are equal, and maybe you need to keep some people out of your country. All right? Because the whole idea of saying, yeah, you're welcome, all these immigrants are welcome here, the idea is that, like, a person from Sudan is just as civilized as people from here in the United States or in Ireland or in England. And I think there's a ton of people who are really sick of all this stuff like that, Every time something like this comes up, I think about, the justice system. It's like you would think a madman who would do something like this could have been spotted a long time before reaching Belfast. Long before reaching Belfast. All right? These people who attack like this, they seem to be like the easy ones to spot and catch. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like the guy who murdered Irina Zarutska here in the U.S. That guy seems like he's easy to catch. Long criminal record. Why can't you keep him in prison? Instead, you let him out, and so he just ends up killing somebody. You had the guy. He seems like an easy one to catch. The hard ones, that's what we need, to work on. If we can get the easy ones off the street, then we can focus on the harder ones. The more clever devils of our society. All right, let's go to Jon Stewart whining because he dare not say, hey, that's women in the workforce for you. Excuse me. You know that guy used to be a comedian? You know that? Yeah, he used to be funny. He did the show, I don't know if how old you are, but he did this show on Comedy Central called The Daily Show. And it was hilarious. It was really funny. And I don't know what happened to the guy. I think he just went crazy like so many of these other Democrats went crazy. And so he's not funny anymore. Jon Stewart ridiculed Kristen Welker over a response of Trump walking out on an interview. A comedian called out Welker for saying she traveled all the way to Wisconsin as Trump left the set. All right, comedian Jon Stewart took aim at NBC's Kristen Welker on Monday, targeting her for her response to President Donald Trump walking out of a Meet the Press interview on Sunday. On The Daily Show, Stewart discussed Trump ending the interview with Welker after calling her and other major media outlets crooked. The comedian overwhelmingly criticized the president during this segment, but also honed in on the NBC host's response to Trump walking out. Quote, but this is where Kristen Welker nearly undoes all the good work she did with one of the worst pleas in the history of journalism, Stewart said. As Trump walked off, Welker said, Mr. President, please, I traveled all the way to Wisconsin. You know how much I hate the state? I hate Wisconsin. Cheese everywhere. You're the cheese state, right? Anyway, Stewart mocked Welker's remarks, joking, you can't leave, sir. I was in business class. Mr. President, please, Wisconsin, Wheel of Fortune is on an hour earlier here. These people are savages. Their Chinese restaurants only serve Szechuan and not Cantonese to be found. We'll all die of consumption. These are terrible. These are terrible. Do you think he sat at home writing these up thinking they're clever? But you know what? He went on to say, maybe finally this moment will give journalists permission to not back down, to just leave it there and move on, and to finally be honest about Trump's inability to be challenged in the moment, Stewart said. He then showed a clip of Welker explaining that she and the president acknowledged difficulties posed during the interview due to bad weather. Stewart yelled, "You were inside!" That's Jon Stewart style. There was no challenge from the rain. After that, no, Donald Trump was not thrown off by the ambient noise during the interview. In fact, ambient farm rain is the least disruptive noise environment he conducts interviews in. He thought he's so clever, huh? Multiple times during the interview, the NBC host acknowledged the sound of the rain at the interview location. Quote, "This will be first of multiple interruptions due to the weather. Rain on the metal roof was making it difficult for both of us to hear each other," Welker said at one point. "As we're having this conversation, we hear a little bit of rain." The president also acknowledged at one point, "There's a lot of rain. Lots of rain." Donald Trump didn't storm out because of the rain. He stormed out because he was challenged, not because he was distracted, Stewart said. So maybe it's time we stop making excuses for that man in order to preserve access to his constant bullshit. And you wonder why he calls you out for being partial. Welker said in the end of the segment that Trump agreed for another interview on Meet the Press. Stewart reacted, "There you go. What are the odds that the result of that interview will be any different?" NBC News declined to comment, and we'll talk about that. So Trump stormed out of the interview on Sunday, accusing NBC, ABC, CBS, CNN of being crooked during his final exchange over his claims about U.S. elections. "You're a one-sided crooked network," Trump told Welker. "Sorry, let's call it quits because I've had enough. Thank you, darling. Have a good time." "I sat in the rain with you for an hour," Trump continued to say. "On and off in the rain. I've given you enough time. You ought to straighten out your press because you know what? This is what I love. This is what I love that he said. A country can never be great with a dishonest press." Very good, Mr. President. Very good. And no matter what he did in that interview, people would lambaste him, give him a hard time about it. You see that, I don't know if you've seen the clip, but he like stepped on the mic as he was leaving. What's that? What they call that? BDE. Screw your lapel mic. Holy cow, we're moving right along. We have a new early show. All right. I talk baseball a little bit. Dude, I found this YouTube channel. If you're like me and you don't have the time to catch up on baseball, I highly recommend. Free ad for him. Baseball doesn't exist and podcast doesn't exist. Because these guys are keeping up with baseball, so you don't have to. I watch maybe like a half hour a week of these guys' videos, and I'm just trying to keeping up on baseball because I don't have the time I used to have to sit around and watch games and read the stats and look up the sites. And those guys are great. They're great. All right, so Dodgers catcher Dalton Rushing executes a slide so illegal it would have made the 1980s proud. If you have a name like Dalton Rushing and you play baseball, you got to have like the most steals on the team, right? Anyway, the catcher's fifth inning slide against Pittsburgh was closer to the outfield grass than second base. Los Angeles Dodgers catcher Dalton Rushing reminded baseball fans of a simpler time with a perfectly executed slide Tuesday night against the Pirates. Unfortunately, it was only perfectly executed from about 1930 to 2016. Nowadays, what Rushing did in the fifth inning of Tuesday's eventual win over Pittsburgh is deemed illegal. Sad, we used to be a proper country. Anyway, so much TikTok, I guess. Slide was textbook. First of all, the slide itself would have been textbook in the 80s. It would have shown that overhead projectors in high school clubhouses across the country. They also generally finding that Dalton Rushing thought he could hold up in a court of law. What was he thinking here? I mean, he didn't even come close to the bag itself. I'd wager to say he was closer to sliding into the outfield grass than he was to sliding into the actual base. Amazing. For those wondering, Major League Baseball changed the sliding rules about a decade ago after Chase Utley famously tried to break Mets shortstop Ruben Tejada in half during a 2015 NDLS. I wouldn't have put it that way. Then it reads the rule. So the last one really hurts. Rushing's case is there, given the literal purpose of the slide was to take out the shortstop. It's pretty cut and dried stuff. Anyway, it reminded MLB's fans of simpler times. Some would argue that they were better times. Nothing like being able to absolutely wallop someone to break up a double play or score a run. Yeah, I mean, after 2016, I really don't like this like low contact baseball. I don't like it. I like the idea of breaking up a double play. Like you could be a runner you're on offense now. If you're a base runner and you're on offense and you can slide in such a way that can break up a double play, I mean, I guess the rule should be you should actually you can go outside the baseline, you can go towards the outfield or something like that, but you got to make a realistic effort to get towards the bag. And I think that's where the problem is that he was clearly kind of just, screw the bag, I'm going to break up the double play. And that I think is a problem when you want to break up the double play more than you want to get to the base. I think that's the real issue. But I don't think baseball should be a low contact thing. I think you should be able to run into the catcher. He's got to hold on to the ball. Seriously, it's the only real like contact in baseball. And now it's just the only time people really getting hurt is like somebody throws a baseball out of the stands or somebody gets hit by pitch. You know, people loved, like catchers loved. It's like, oh, I got it, baby. You still coming? You still coming? You got to take it from me. I'm the armored one, you know? And the runner doing things like leaping over their heads. You've seen those kinds of plays back in the day. Leaping over the catcher's heads, doing a cartwheel, doing some sort of magical cheat code stuff to get that run in. And I do kind of miss it. I don't know if I dislike the pitch clock. It does speed up the pace quite a bit. All right, let's do, I guess, happier stories, and then we'll get out of here. I don't know if this is happy or anything like that. I guess I'm happy that it's not me. Siren's Curse roller coaster, good name. Strands riders vertically, twice in one weekend at Six Flags Cedar Point. Don't get on the Siren's Curse. The Siren's Curse is cursed. Record-breaking tilt coaster in Sandusky, Ohio experienced technical delays on both Saturday and Sunday. The tallest, fastest, and longest tilt roller coaster in North America got stuck twice over the weekend in a vertical position, leaving riders temporarily suspended. Siren's Curse, located at Six Flags Cedar Point. Jeez, those parks, they change hands all the time. In Sandusky, Ohio, experienced separate technical delays on Saturday and Sunday, Fox 8 reported. On Saturday and Sunday, the coaster experienced technical delays similar to a check engine light that paused its operation, the park spokesperson told WKYC-TV. Its safety system performed as designed, keeping all guests safe. Following a complete systems check, the ride was restarted and guests continued their ride as normal. The park reiterated that Fox 8 that the automated safety system had simply detected a condition that required a pause for inspection. After crews completed a system check the following each delay, the attraction was reopened to guests shortly after. Fox News Digital has reached out to Cedar Point for further comment. Described by the park as a record-breaking attraction, Siren's Curse tilts riders at a 90-degree angle, holding them vertically as the track locks into place before the first drop. Ooh, tension. The ride originally opened Cedar Point in June of 2025. Oof. On its very first day of operation, it experienced a similar glitch, leaving riders suspended vertically for about 10 minutes, according to local reports. I wonder if they got the roller coaster secondhand. You know, there's YouTube channels where guys will talk about, like, roller coasters and stuff. I kind of watch them from time to time. And I kind of like when things screw up. Boy, I wouldn't want to be on that thing, man. I would listen to the guy at the gate. Don't go on the Siren's Curse at Six Flags Cedar Point. See, I'm writing a commercial for him right now. Because sometimes, like a dangerous ride, sometimes they'll get more people wanting, like, different types of people who want to ride it. And so, but man, I wouldn't want to get stuck up there. Because it's hours before they can get you free. It's hours. And so, you know, I remember I was talking to Roller Coaster the other day. I'd rather be hit in the face with a bird coming down the first hill like Fabio. when he rode here at the King's Dominion. What was that, the Anaconda? Bird hit him in the face. I'd rather that happen. In fact, I would rather be on like the Rebel Yell and come up the last hill and the cars just come off the track and I go flying out into the woods or whatever. I'd rather do that than get stuck on a roller coaster for 3 or 4 hours. No cigarettes, no bathroom, and just the idiots who got on the train with me. Hopefully somebody I know is nearby so I can at least have a conversation. But seriously, yeah, I'd rather go off the tracks. At least you know it's going to be over pretty soon. You're sitting up there, locked into place, staring down. Ugh, awful. The curse of the Siren is known for miles and miles. Do not get upon that roller coaster. All right. You have that picture of that silly friggin' horse? Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey uncorks a Trojan horse popcorn bucket that stores its goods at its crotch. No, thank you. A souvenir bucket requires moviegoers to open a secret hatch in the horse's nether region to access their popcorn. Movie theaters have looked to navigate the area of streaming, they've turned to souvenir popcorn buckets as a way to get people to spend extra coin. Now we've got a look at what has to be one of the most ridiculous ones we've ever seen, which is saying something, and it's special popcorn Trojan horse for the upcoming Christopher Nolan movie, The Odyssey. Because nothing says prestigious film based upon one of the greatest epic poems of all time more than a plastic horse with a crotch full of popcorn. Hold on. Who wrote this? Matt Regal. My own boy, Matt Regal. That's a good one. All right. Whoa. They want people eating out of that thing in public? Well, you don't shove your mouth into it, right? You take your fingers in there. Jeez. I do like the symbolism of the Trojan horse in the movie theater, though. We've all Trojan horsed a Coke Zero and a pack of Lemonheads into the theater. But this is the thing I don't get about these popcorn buckets. Yes, they look neat and make cool souvenirs, but these popcorn buckets are rarely, if ever, actually good for eating popcorn out of. I mean, imagine sitting down to catch this movie, only have the guy sit down next to you with a plastic Trojan horse cradled in his arm. Then he drops the open secret popcorn hatch and the horse's nether region starts digging in. Yeah. Make you want to go home and wait for a month before for the movie to hit streaming. Now, while I tried to fail to get my hands on one of the crash helmet popcorn buckets from last year's F1, I find it wild that people are paying for a movie ticket, buying exorbitantly priced snacks. Ooh, you almost got me there, Matt. Then saying, actually, you know what? Throw in one of those scary movie "What's Up" phones. Ugh. But people go nuts for these things, so maybe we need to start doing some retroactive popcorn buckets because I think it all started with Dune sandworm popcorn buckets. My God. You can pull out a Pulp Fiction briefcase full of popcorn, but you just can't open it during the movie because the light is distracting. Okay, you're kind of wouldn't mind kicking back and watching a flick while snacking out of a Rosebud from Citizen Kane popcorn bucket. All right, man, you're losing it. Too far. But the number one retroactive popcorn bucket we all need, the box from Seven. Good ending. That way we could finally learn what's in the box, and turns out it's hot, buttery popcorn. Just kidding, it's definitely the wife's head. There was no need for that last part, Matt. No need for that last part. What's in the box? It's popcorn! You do like a PG-13 cut of that movie. That's what's in the box? Popcorn! They did that in Real Genius, and it worked. Popcorn at the end, and everyone's happy. Except for that one guy that everybody hates from every 80s movie ever. Have you guessed the name of the horse yet? It's Actual Size. It's an completely AI-generated horse. But you got this thing and this long thing here coming around to the nostrils. So his name is Actual Size. I didn't give any directions. That AI popped that out. Not me. Maybe it's the psychology of human beings. You see what you want to see. This is going to be the end of the show. I have a Patreon. Go to patreon.com/shockmonkeyradio. Become a patron today. I also have a Cash App. Use the hashtag shockmonkeyradio. All one word. Send me money that way. Or you can follow me on social media at DNALATSAW. That's the word wasteland spelled backwards on Twitter. At SLRobbins13 on Instagram. And Shock Monkey Radio Redux on Facebook. This has been Shock Monkey Radio. I'm the Madman, and Jesus and I love you.
The madman loves you all, from the big to the small.